Hello, my name is Marsha Reeves Jews. And it's really wonderful. Thank you so much, Brian, because this is an opportunity to do a little reflection. I was going through a divorce, and I decided that I didn't want to be in Baltimore anymore. And so a friend of mine, Bruce Lincoln, who was over at Columbia University at the Institute for Learning Technology, and he brought me over from Baltimore to New York, and I moved up there and started working doing community technology development, and it was absolutely wonderful. The thing that was so beautiful with being in New York was that my heart was really comfortable there. And so when my contract was finished at Columbia, ILT, the Institute for Learning Technology, I said, I got to do something, and I'm not going back to Baltimore. I'm not going back to South Bend. I'm non-hearing. So I decided that I would just go ahead and start my own business. And I just started walking around Harlem. And I saw this empty building, and I said, it was at 125, and on the corner of, I had it before yesterday, Manhattan Avenue. It was beautiful. It was right on a corner, and it's sort of like a rounded front, and it was all glass. And I said, you know what, this might be kind of cute. So I started trying to do some investigating of who owned this empty space. And I found out, and I said, I'd like to rent it. At the beginning, I didn't know what I wanted to do with this building. I mean, like, Marsha, are you really serious about doing this? And I said, yeah. And they let me in, and I walked around, and the vibe was just right on. It was right on the corner, but it was sort of a rounded front. And I said, I could do an art gallery. And so the guy I was dating, he was an artist. And so he painted all these little scratchy hand-painted stuff on the outside. And there were these two huge windows, and then the door was a double door. And I went out, I bought a counter, I went out and bought tables, all the stuff, and created Zaj, Z-Z-A-J. And Zaj, when you look at it backwards, it's jazz, and I love jazz. And I created an art gallery on that corner. It was so powerful. It was really interesting. I have a couple of women who are real close to me, and they're older than I am, but they've been like my big sisters, for lack of something else. One is Dr. Leslie King Hammond, who's been over at the Maryland Institute College of Art, and several other women came with him, but Leslie King Hammond is the queen. And I looked up, I was in the gallery doing my thing. I had all this artwork that I had finally put up, and they came in and started rearranging all the artwork on the walls. And so, I mean, we're talking PhDs, and, they're like 15, 20 years older than I am at that point, right? And as they're taking all the artwork off the walls, they're giving me a whole class. It was an educational class about how to hang artwork and what needed to be next. And she's having this whole conversation, and I'm just standing behind my counter because I also sold handmade jewelry and things like that inside there, and other little trinkets. And she's doing the whole thing, and I'm just standing there watching and listening. I didn't dare interrupt her. There's no way I'd live through that. She left Baltimore, got on a train, and came up here to see me in my art gallery. That was the most powerful thing. I couldn't even talk. I started crying. And as I'm crying, she said, just shut up, crying, and go ahead and hang up the stuff that I told you. And then put in all the names and the labels and all that. It was the most powerful experience I ever had. And it was a MIP. I call them Memories in Progress. And it will be with me for the rest of my life. And it was about me coming out of an ugly marriage to really find something in me that was worthy of giving to the rest of the world. I'm telling you, the people who came into that art gallery was amazing. People were sending people into the art gallery to see it. And I held on for as long as I could, but in Harlem at that time, everything was shooting up. And it breaks my heart even to think about it, but the reality was I couldn't hold on. And there were so many businesses that went out of business, Black businesses, who couldn't hold on because the rents, Clinton came into town and those rents went out of sight, not only from a commercial standpoint, but people's homes that have been there for generations had been removed. And so when we sit down and, I always say, memories in progress, and they really are. For us as a people, in where we want to have a desire in our heart and people to support us, we have to go an extra mile or bring in extra help to make it happen. I had to leave Zaj. I had to leave Zaj because I couldn't hold on. I couldn't hold on. And there's so many of us who have been groomed to be the best that they could be, but they couldn't hold on. And I want to end this with making certain that we surround ourselves with people that can help you hold on and be what you need to be. Don't let it leave you.